question today. The question is, are dating apps dead? Dating burnout, algorithms, expensive subscriptions, and just some of the reasons that people say they are ditching the apps. According to a Pew Research poll, more and more users, especially women, are dissatisfied with the apps, and headlines report Gen Z is rejecting them as well. Take a look.
I have been off of the dating apps best 7 months of my life. I would wake up and see who liked me. It became this weird validation thing, and you just match with so many people and sometimes not even talk to any of them. What are we doing here?
No matter who you are, the idea of someone paying to try to talk to you when they don't even know you feels desperate. Not a good first impression. And after I hear the horror stories of what people go through these days, I'm just glad to be off the market.
Hey ladies, is it just me or does it seem like everybody is burnt out from dating? It seems like every person I meet, every person I talk to, whether it's my friends or my work friends or my male work friends, especially them, everybody's burnt out from dating.
A New York Times blockbuster opinion piece called "It's Not You, Dating Apps Are Getting Worse" details the many complaints people are reporting over dating apps. The writer, 27-year-old Magdalene Taylor, joins us, along with Deja Chanel, a 25-year-old popular content creator from Nashville who was featured in the New York Times for previously ditching the apps. Also with us, Thomas Edwards, the dating coach known as the professional wingman with over 15 years of experience, who's been featured in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal. He's not ready to bury dating apps just yet. Magdalene, you are in a relationship, but you dove into this head on, and in the article you were told by one person, the golden age of dating apps is over. When was the golden age, some people would say?
Some people would say it was a few years ago, before all of the apps implemented these paid subscription models, before they had these more intense algorithms, where it felt a little more like you're swiping through the available pool of people who are out there.
So in the original golden age of it, right, you'd pay, because it was never free. Most of them were never free. You'd go in, you'd put your information in, and you'd be off to the races. Mm-hmm. Now, I was unaware of the paywall, which is something you've talked about, Deja. You don't like. The paywall makes you do what?
So what it will do is hide people that they know you're interested in based on the men that you may have liked before, men that you matched with before. It will hide those types of profiles from you unless you would like to pay for it. Then you can send them a yeah, you guys are right. Yeah. That's my reaction as well.
Magdalene, how much more are people paying in your research that you found to get past these paywalls?
There are some people who are paying $50 a month. Some services even charge up to $500 a month.
You taught me something.
That's crazy. In your op-ed, you wrote, quote, "Our romantic lives are not products that should be subjected to monthly subscription fees, whether we're ones paying or we're the ones people are paying for." Deja, you said you used to find good men on dating apps when you first joined. Mm-hmm. You got frustrated. You deleted the dating apps that you were on. How many were you on at one point in time?
I think the most that I've been on is 2 at one time, but these dating apps and we have a very rocky relationship. We're very off and on and off and on. It's a push and a pull, so it's like...
Yeah, because our audience applauded when they heard that you were off the dating apps, but surprise, surprise, you got back on.
I'm back on, yes, I'm sorry. I can't resist it, okay? I'm back, yes.
Because again, I go back to the time when someone says, "I'm never going back to that club again," but then you go back to that club again, right? So that's real talk. You deleted it and then you got back on because you felt it was still is the best option?
It still does feel like the better option because meeting people in real life is not as easy as I feel like it used to be. And then also I feel like meeting people on dating apps, it should be a place where we are all here to find love. So that way there shouldn't really be...
Do you really believe that?
It should be. It is not. It's not.
Because I never believed that dating in general is always to find love. Some people want to hook up. Some people want somebody to go to an event with. I mean, it's never been the universal, I want to find love.
And I agree with that. I just feel like the expectation is that you will at least come on this dating app and say what you're here for. If you want something short-term and casual, say you want something short-term and casual. Right. But a lot of these men, in my experience, are saying that they want something long-term. They want to find their person. When you get to know them, that's actually not the case. So they're putting on a front.
It's true. Deja posted a video on TikTok about an interaction she had with a guy that she met at a music festival that really opened her eyes about the big problems of the apps. Let's play Deja's video.
I feel like a big reason that like a lot of these dating apps just are not going to work for most people, especially women who date men, is that most of these men are not marketable on apps. Like, it's hard to like a man through a screen. They don't know how to take pictures. Their sense of humor rarely ever translates. I went to a music festival and I ended up meeting this guy and we hit it off really well. And he was like, yeah, I swiped on you, but you didn't swipe me back. So I said, let me see your profile. I looked at his profile and I was like, yeah, I would never swipe on this profile. I know exactly why I didn't. These pictures are hideous. The bio is completely empty. I would never go for this. But meeting him in real life, I'm obsessed with you.
That's the truth.
Okay. So, Magdalene, again, you're in a relationship, but you're nodding yes because you're hearing that a lot from women. Thomas, you have an interesting perspective because as a coach for years, you have said men don't know how to present themselves on these dating apps.
Men, honestly, they have a hard time doing much of anything when it comes to putting themselves in a position to find love. Yeah. Most guys will go onto a profile, they'll put, the shirtless pic, the bathroom selfie, the guy with the fish, him and his boys, and they'll think that, oh my gosh, I look great. But they're not thinking about what she's looking at and what she's looking for. Most guys are gonna put out what they think how they need to present themselves best, but they're not even considering if that's gonna attract the kind of person that they want.
I'm fascinated by that. I have to tell you, the minute you said the bathroom shot, I just saw like 50 of them in my head. Because it seems like every guy,
Everyone's seen them.
and it stops just above their underwear. So I don't know, don't ask me how I've seen them, but I have. Coming up, our panel is sticking around to weigh in on the next big question. Will AI save dating apps? That's a fascinating question. We're gonna jump into it after the break.
Hi, Tam fam. I want you guys to come along with me while I get ready for my second date with a man that I met off of a dating app. What drew me to his profile that kind of stuck out about him was he said on there that he's looking for a long-term relationship, as am I. He takes good pictures, which is very rare for men on dating apps. So on our first date, we went out to lunch and we actually ended up sitting there and talking for 3 hours, and that's not usual for a first date for me. He was a gentleman. He opened all my doors. I love that for me. I'm hoping to learn more about him because, like I said, your girl's trying to be booed up by the summertime. This is our final look. I like it. I'm feeling good. I'm very excited, as you can see by the smile on my face.
That was a look at 25-year-old content creator Deja Chanel going on a date recently. She's been deleting and returning to her dating app over the past year. She's felt burnt out. Deja is still with us, along with Magdalene Taylor, writer of the New York Times op-ed, It's Not You, Dating Apps Are Getting Worse, and professional wingman who's been called the real-life hitch, Thomas Edwards. By the way, dating apps have helped millions of people find love over the years. The former Bumble CEO, which is a big dating app, Whitney Wolfe Herd, made headlines. The Bloomberg Technology Summit, she said of dating that we could be entering a world where your dating concierge could go on a date for you with another dating concierge, and then you don't have to talk to 600 people. I'm fascinated by this because, first of all, Magdalene, you wrote this op-ed that got this whole hour started. You met your love in college. You said to me it was the old school way. And you've been together 8 years. When you hear the woman who started Bumble, essentially, this big dating app say, we could be entering this era of concierge where a version of you is going out with a version of that person. You don't like it. Neither does our audience.
No, they hate it.
Why is that a turnoff?
Because, again, I think that part of the reasons why people feel that dating apps and dating overall is so bad right now is because it's become so technologically mediated.
Yeah.
I think the last thing that we need is more technological mediation into our love life.
Thomas, you help people establish connections and it was 400 marriages you've helped people connect with over the years. But you have this on-demand dating coach using AI.
Yeah.
He's going to show us how it works. Take us through it.
Okay, so you pull up Wingman AI, and you can ask a simple question like, what are great conversation starters to
Okay.
ask on a date.
Oh, here are the answers.
And this is great because I use my content so it sounds
Okay.
like me. So it would say, absolutely, there's some fantastic first date conversation starters. The key is to ask open-ended questions that allow your date to share more about themselves. And the great thing about these types of questions is that they show genuine interest in learning more about your date, which is important. And by being willing to share your own answers as well, it keeps the conversation balanced and flowing naturally. And so I'm always about giving my clients frameworks that they can use so they can come up with their own thing. Guys aren't confident enough, so sometimes they need that line. They need that thing that they know they need to say.
So if we are training men or women through AI technology how to interact, doesn't that just create the bigger problem that we're seeing is that dating someone is an in-person, trial and error, human-to-human thing, or do you disagree?
No, guys are really afraid of rejection, and I agree. I think guys need to learn how to have more courage and develop resilience in the pursuit of love.
Right. And so does this AI help that or hurt that?
The number one question I receive from guys is, what do I say to her?
What do I say to her? Wow.
They don't know what to say. And I'm gonna give you some numbers to give you an example of why guys are afraid of what they need to say to women. The average guy would maybe approach one woman, let's say, a weekend. And let's say they started doing that from 18. So that's 52 women that they would approach a year. That's 520. I mean, that's a lot of, I haven't really met a lot of guys who've approached 1,000 women in their lifetime.
Right, I get that.
I would say in that same time frame, the average woman is approached by 10 guys on a weekend. So now you're looking at 520 men approaching them in a year, 5,200 in 10 years. So it's not so much that guys are inept because they are naturally inept, it's because the experience and the intelligence gap is so wide because guys don't allow themselves to be exposed the way that you guys are naturally exposed.
That's a very
to
thoughtful
approaching.
answer. That's a very so Magdalene, you wrote this article. What did you feel is the big takeaway or the big conversation here? Because the apps aren't going anywhere.
Right, it's not going anywhere, and I appreciate that we're trying to figure out ways to use the technology that is, again, not going anywhere to help improve the problem. But I really think that we need to reprioritize real life, learn how to have real world conversations again. I appreciate I appreciate that you're trying to use AI to do that.
That's a great point because, Thomas, what your AI is doing is trying to prompt that conversation. The person still has to walk out the bathroom with
And
the
do
notes.
it, yeah.
Whether you meet online
Yeah.
or everywhere else, at some point there needs to be some in-person conversation. So you can make yourself the perfect man online,
Right.
but if you don't know how to have a simple conversation in person, it won't matter.
Right. So, Deja, when's our next date?
Ooh, child, I don't know. I don't know. I'm getting burnt out. I want to give up.
Don't you get burnt out.
I
No.
know. I'm trying to stay encouraged and remember that, you know, if you're dating people constantly, you're putting yourself out there constantly, then they're not all going to work out. Whether
Right.
you meet them on an app or in real life, you can't be with everybody. You only want to be with one person. So, you know, disappointment will happen. But
How old are
dating
you?
apps-
Remind me how old you are.
I'm 25.
You're only 20.
I know. Whatever. You beat me. Whatever.
Deja,
You'll be good though. You're gonna be good.
hard facts right here. You know I was 48 when I got married. You got plenty of time.